Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the REU ECN Podio. Today we have two very important guests with us. We have Dr. Robert Strong. He's a professor in the Department of Agricultural Leadership, Education, and Communications at TAMU. And we have Dr. Rafael Landaverde. He's an assistant professor in the same department. And we are here to talk about a very hot topic right now, which is AI in education and research. So first, I want you guys to tell me a little bit about your involvement with AI, especially how it has impacted your research or maybe your classes or, just any experience that you have with AI that made you want to get involved more.
Sure, thanks for having us. This is very exciting. So to answer your question, AI is revolutionizing, has and is revolutionizing a lot of what we're doing, both from the research, teaching, and extension perspectives. And so to answer your specific question, it's altered both my research and teaching almost in every way. Okay. And so our involvement, or my involvement, is both on an international, national, and localized level with collaborative groups, other institutions, and commodity organizations, and not only understanding how AI can advance their performance and their outcomes, but also in learning what the next generation of that may be for them. So the short answer to your question is it is altering things very, very rapidly, it's in a positive way.
Definitely.
Similar to Dr. Strong, for me, AI has come to become part of my daily professional life, in my teaching and in my research. In my research, I look primarily at how the technology might be transforming our agri-food systems. We share a lot about our research interests on that part. We look at how from policy to implementation and development, these tools are becoming more and more available to the daily activities of producers, but also for our students. And if we want to serve them the best we can, we have to keep up with those innovations coming up. So then when they join the workforce, they are prepared to integrate those in their daily activities. So I guess to make that transition from the classroom to our students, we have to also learn how to integrate them for productivity, efficiency, and they are very, very handful once you become more familiar with them.
Exactly. I agree. I know that of a colleague of mine that actually did a study in AI, perceptions that students have. And one very interesting finding that she saw was that a student said AI is going to be like computers. First, everybody was like, what is this? This is taking jobs, this is doing this. But now it's part of our everyday lives. So it's, it's something that we kind of have to get used to, I think. And like you said, learn how to navigate every aspect of it. And especially the ethical aspect, right? I think that's been talked about a lot as well. So I do have a follow-up question. So you know how AI chatbots can be used like tutors sometimes? I've done this too actually before. Like I've heard people say like, okay, when I sometimes don't understand something in class, I'll ask AI and like it'll dumb it down for me so that I understand it a little bit better. So do you think that at some point AI will have a role in mentorship, or you think this is something that only humans can do, or what do you think that would look like at some point?
Yeah, I find it hard to understand how AI will not influence every facet of what we do. And so you asked about mentoring. A chatbot plausibly could enhance the mentoring experience from an efficiency standpoint. Dr. Landaverde mentioned efficiency just a moment ago, but the efficiency of the transfer of that mentorship to human could be enhanced by the chatbot, to the human interface. And so there are multiple examples of effective and widely used chatbots, both in the teaching and the research, in research paradigms, as we would say, or those lenses. And so we think, just based upon our data, that is only going to proliferate, that there'll be more and more chatbots, because there's a lot of different studies just here at A&M that we're involved in that are working on large language models that are what build chatbots. And so absolutely.
So do you think that AI adoption is happening everywhere right now, or do you think we're still like in the early stages, or we're more towards like, okay, completely adopting AI? What is your perspective on that?
So I read a very interesting article about how AI is kind of like reducing the gap in terms of innovation adoption that other technologies have faced around the world. It is one of those that has been more effective on becoming useful for people on daily life or daily activities that nobody could have kind of like imagined that everybody was going to get it. You know, like older adults are using it, younger kids are using it, young professionals are using it, compared to other technologies that it has taken way longer for that massive adoption. This one has become part, because we see it in everything. You know, you see it in social media, but you see it in platforms for work. You can use it for your own personal interest. Writers are using it to revise grammar. So there are so many uses that these technologies can have that I think if you are not at least getting close to it right now, you're staying a little bit behind.
Right.
That doesn't mean that there is no some skepticism and some people coming closer to the technology. But compared to others, the adoption is definitely way more general among the society.
And there's obviously the drawbacks that they always mention, right? Like we're losing our originality, or we're using it for the wrong reasons. So what would be your advice on that? Like how to avoid, like, okay, maybe you are pro AI and you use it every day to like ask, or like make your work more efficient. What advice would you give for you to avoid losing that originality, or like that, that human element that you need?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's a supplemental technology, right? But also, it's the advantages of it. It eliminates burdensome or tasks that, that would save you a tremendous amount of time and energy, so you could focus on much larger type issues, right? And so, my answer specifically to your question would be, I think an individual needs to know their purpose or objective of what they're trying to accomplish. And, I can give you a very applied example on both the research and teaching side, where you can utilize generative AI to help you write a letter of recommendation. Not use the entire output for that, but to also check to see if you've missed a prompt in the metric of that particular evaluation system, if that makes sense. And so in that world, we've taken something that normally would take hours to do down to minutes to do. And so that's just one specific example, but that's very applied and very relevant, at this time right now. But I'd go back to my answer is I think the individual needs to know what is their objective, or what are they trying to accomplish.
Right.
And that may be best with a human interface or critical thinking to answer that.
Right.
But it could be something, again, burdensome is the word that's used a lot, to address that and free up that person's time and energy to focus on something higher order.
I agree.
And I think organizations who might be interested in bringing this have to take the same approach. They have to be intentional and analyze and evaluate the needs that their organization have and how those needs can be, addressed, integrating AI. Like Dr. Strong was mentioning, we are involved in several projects here at the university with AgriLife Research and AgriLife Extension, where these tools are supplemental to the services that we already provide, but they are enhancing and making those services better. Chatbots to technical assistance to producers. It doesn't replace the technical expertise of the experts that AgriLife Extension had, but it makes more easier the communication or answering those repetitive questions that, the answers might be easier to get. So for those organizations that want to bring AI to their employees or their members, I will say finding the purpose to bring that technology and find help from people to prepare their members to adopt and relate in their activities with the technology will be a very good approach.
I agree. I think it's really important to talk about it. I know there's, like you said, there's a lot of skepticism, but that won't be addressed unless it's talked about. And like you said, if you're not talking about it, you're probably falling behind a little bit. So I think that's really important. So on that, 20 years from now, how do you see an institution, for example, A&M, that's fully adopted AI? What is your vision on that? How would that look like for you, do you think?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't agree completely with the idea that AI is going to replace jobs completely. but it will become it will make the workforce becoming more competitive. And people will become competitive if they know these skills when they join the workforce. Um, some some jobs, like change and evolve depending on these technologies, but the critical thinking element that humans have will remain being essential. Creativity, you were talking about that. I think in 20 years, yes, we will see a lot of changes. We keep seeing changes. I always make the joke when I'm talking about AI in my classes or in conferences that we go to bed and things were one way and we wake up and things are in a completely different way. So keep yourself updated because in 20 years, it will be, completely integrated in society. It is becoming already almost integrated in everything we do,
Yes.
but it's still areas where more development, more work, more context needs to be integrated. Those projects that Dr. Strong were mentioning, that I was mentioning, that we work on are about that, how we can reduce the gap between the great developments that an institution like A&M is doing and they become available and useful for the people we want to serve. So in 20 years from now, we will revisit this and we will see that we will be fully, in a world that it will be fully, AI will be fully integrated on it.
Okay, maybe I'll be speaking to your robot in 20 years.
Hopefully no.
I think AI is the perfect conduit between academia and industry to where they can work together synergistically, both from a research angle and a teaching angle. And, I shared this with Dr. Landaverde occasionally. I will say I'm so jealous of these students now. And I truly am, because they're living in the moment, like this is happening now. And all these opportunities that he talked about and things we're doing are so exciting. I wish I had more time, to be involved in that. So I am jealous of those students. 20 years from now, man, that's an exciting question, right? Even at this moment as we're sitting here, AI has replaced multiple things on this campus. And so the facility not far from here where you used to go and purchase something and someone would check you out and take your payment, those individuals aren't there anymore. It's all run by AI.
Yes.
Right?
I actually didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so right now that's happening on this campus.
Yeah.
So what that may look like 20 years from now, I think that's tremendously cool and exciting, but I totally agree with Dr. Landaverde. These technologies will not replace humans' ability to think critically, to problem solve, to forecast or predict. AI will be supplemental to help them do those things more efficiently and more rapidly. And so it's really cool what it may look like. I can't wait to see it.
I agree, yes. And also, like you mentioned, I feel like training is definitely necessary. Like, instead of avoiding talking about the subject, training in how to use it well. Because I know you came to my seminar class once, and you talked about how even, like, the prompts that you put, like, if you use ChatGPT, like, you have to know what kind of prompt to put there so that you get what you want. So, like, that's also an important thing to address in the future or now. That is happening now, like you said. But yeah, so do you have any maybe a last minute advice for everyone on the use of AI in education research, maybe for students who are, trying to incorporate it, or maybe fellow professors that you think?
I think if prospective students are interested in this, honestly, I can think of no other place better positioned to not only train and develop them, but also pipeline them to industry, academic, or government careers in this area. I mean, the things that we were working on today are different, as he said, that you wake up the next day and it's different, right? And so things we're working on right now are more advanced than they were 3 months ago. And 3 months ago, they were more advanced than they were a year before that.
Yeah.
And so that's only going to elevate. Our knowledge is rapidly increasing on these things. And so I would just add, for students interested in diving into this, this is an ideal place to do that.
Great.
Yeah, and our classes are cultivating an environment where we incentivize them to use it with responsibility, not sacrificing, the learning outcomes that we expect them to get from our class, but to be able to effectively use it and get the outcomes still with the same quality, but maybe faster, better. I completely agree. Texas A&M is leading in many areas the development of these technologies and implementation, not only in agriculture, but College of Engineering and other departments. We have access to these platforms as members of the Texas A&M University community to use it and integrate it. So I think that speaks about, the speed that the university is making investment to
Yep.
keep us on track to continue offering like those opportunities. And for the students, the advice that I always provide is the quality of what you put in is the quality that you will get out of these tools. So make sure that when you're using it correctly. And if you want to learn more about that, you should come to our department. We will be happy to have you and help you prepare for that.
Yes.
So.
Well, thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedules to be here today. And well, that's it for today, but check us out on our next episode. Thank you, Dr. Strong and Dr. Landaverde.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having
Good
us.
day.